Hello, everyone, and welcome to Cherry Bekaert's Digital Advisory Podcast. We're happy to have you here today joining us. My name is Jerry Herden, and today we're going to cover fractional CIO services with leader Steve Holliday. Hey, Steve, thanks for joining me today.
Hello, Jerry. Thanks for inviting me.
So today we're going to look at trending topics and the importance of process improvements. So we have a lot of ground to cover. So without delay, let's get started. Steve, first question. Tell our listeners, what is your role at Cherry Bekaert? Tell me a little bit about your background and how did you get to where you are today?
Sure, Jerry. Well, Cherry Bekaert, I lead our CIO advisory services practice, which Fractional CIO services is a part of that service delivery. You know how companies can sometimes struggle with determining a technology path to help optimize growth and/or efficiency? Well, I work with these companies and their management teams to help identify and implement technology and business process improvements. The result is a company that is future ready, efficient, and effective. My background consists of industry experience in business operations, strategic process improvement, and information technology. I have over 20 years of industrial manufacturing experience and 10 years between financial services and wholesale distribution.
So tell me, what are fractional CIO services? How does Cherry Bekaert help organizations in this area?
Sure thing. Our fractional CIOs are seasoned IT executives that can be contracted full-time or on a variable amount of hours on a monthly basis. The requirements really depend upon the needs of the customer and vary based upon the amount of work that is needed. A fractional CIO would do what a CIO would do. We bring leadership, we build relationships, we take time to understand the business, and we dive deep on the technology of the business. We put together strategies, we help the business case for investment and change. We create alignment, we mobilize projects, we monitor progress, and help keep things on track, such as budgets, timelines, project deliverables, and individual performance. Space is broad. It can include business processes and applications. So you think about business systems and other applications that are there to run the business. Technology infrastructure, which would include the networks, the communications, servers and computers, and the other hardware delivering and manipulating the bits and bytes. And you've got IT operations to the degree that either these are on-premise in the data center or in the cloud. Business data and data analytics. And this would include the data sources, the integrity of the information, the consolidation of business information for reporting and analysis. IT governance is another area. Policies, procedures, the oversight, the controls that help make sure the systems are delivering the results that the business is depending on. Information security is another area. The mechanics and the systems in place to secure your data and the ability to compute. A broad area. Our customers can expect us to help them with planning and deployment and to stand side by side as changes are made. So when you think about how we engage, we bring all this knowledge, but we're also there as we're executing. Our aim is to be an extension of the customer, is to become and be a trusted business partner.
So Steve, everything that you just talked about, there are certainly a lot of moving parts there, can be very, very daunting. And I'm sure that's one of the main reasons why an organization might need these types of services.
Sure, Jerry. I mean, sometimes we see organizations that need full-time support to bridge an organization through a leadership change. Sometimes we see growing organizations that need an experienced leader and aren't quite to the size where a full-time executive makes sense financially. Finally, we also see organizations that they've got capable resources and teams in place, but they're just looking for a more strategic leader and/or a leader with fuller knowledge of today's possible technology options available to them to come in, help them put a plan together on which they can begin to execute.
So why are CIO services important for an organization? You mentioned a lot of different things, but can you give me some more specifics there?
Jerry, I'm a big believer. I mean, when it comes to information technology, it's important to play offense. Organizations that stay on the sidelines for too long are at a disadvantage against their competitors. CIO services help improve the business and how it operates. Whether it's rolling out new technologies or shifting into a digital-first culture, executing a transformation strategy requires precision and agility for sustained long-term changes.
So what are the first steps in helping an organization with fractional CIO services?
Are areas that we're looking at in terms of how our customer is structured and performing. We bring a network of organizations together around the challenge to be solved, including Cherry Bekaert, our partners, and others as needed or directed by the customer. Each situation is unique, but we do encounter some common themes. The three that most commonly appear. First of all, that we see probably most frequently is that there's been underinvestment for a period of time. The customer has neglected investing in IT, and they're behind, and they're trying to play a little bit of catch up. That's one. We also see where our customers have gone forward down the path of a prior decision and a selection of technology that just isn't panning out for them in the deployment of technology. Would be the third most common situation we run into.
What about reducing operating costs? Can fractional CIO services help in this area as well?
Well, Jerry, I'm going to start that with this answer, and that first of all is, what's the cost of a bad technology decision, or the poor implementation of a good technology choice, right? That can be far higher than the cost of bringing in a fractional CIO ahead of time, so that we're part of the decision making and the implementation. So that's the first thing that a company needs to consider if they're looking to change. Having the right leadership with them is first and foremost critical. And I'm going to tell you, there are times where a fractional CIO may not make sense. And this would rest particularly with companies who need a full-time technology executive for more than a transitional period. Otherwise, our services make sense for companies that need a fractional executive, either because they've yet to grow, they see growth on the horizon and they want to make good choices so that their technology foundation is scalable. So that could be, or the other would be, we've got a good team in place, and they're kind of puttering along, and they're doing some things, but they're just maybe not either getting the transformational change that the executive leadership is looking for. So in those situations, it makes sense to bring in a fractional CIO to help supercharge the existing capabilities that are there.
So can you give me an example, a quick success story, Steve, on how you helped a customer supercharge?
I'd love to talk about those. We have a recent story with a PE portfolio company in the aerospace and defense industry. We were asked to look at operations efficiency, but in talking with the CEO, it was clear that there was more needed here for this growing manufacturing operation. We discussed their current state and ability in the current state to meet an increasing level of Department of Defense requirements around information security. We learned about their current systems and infrastructure. We asked about their growth plans. We talked about the shop, bottlenecks in production, so that kind of gets back to some of their operations efficiency questions, and their difficulty measuring production output and yield and machine utilization. We helped them to identify an enterprise resource planning system, that's an ERP, and we pointed them towards implementers. We helped them plan their compliance with DoD information security requirements. We moved them to the Office 365 government cloud. We helped them protect their most sensitive information. We helped them implement a new local network that would meet security needs, both providing wireless access across their facility, but also connecting their machines on the shop floor, which had been islands. They were isolated. Getting them onto the network allowed them to get data from those machines and to push information out to the machines. And then we helped to deploy a new IP security camera system for both improved employee security, but also meeting again those increased level of DoD requirements. We onboarded their computing infrastructure and hardware, and now provide them with managed service. Most recently, we helped them to source a machine data acquisition platform. So taking all of those connected machines on their shop floor and pulling data into the cloud and be able to enable them with real-time reporting of job progress, machine productivity, and their production losses. This data that we've enabled will play and is playing a critical role in their continuous improvement journey, which, if I bring to a full circle, was the request we originally answered. But obviously, there was a lot more there that was needed, and through the conversation and discovery, it jumped out at us, and they saw the need the same as we did.
Okay, Steve, I have one last question. What does Cherry Bekaert bring to the table as it relates to everything that we discussed today?
Jerry, this is something I'm really proud of. Our people have led technology organizations and have held leadership positions in industry. Furthermore, our fractional CIOs have had experience leading across many industries, serving our customers. And in cases, in our backgrounds, we've worked in industry in lots of different industries, or we've been able to see lots of different industries working with customers. So we've cut our teeth doing in these types of roles. We've learned as leaders, and we bring this experience to our customers.
Well, with that said, thanks again for joining us today, Steve. And I would like to thank the audience for tuning in. As always, please like, share, and subscribe to our podcast. And for more information about Cherry Bekaert's digital advisory services, please visit us at cbh.com/digital.